Hello and welcome to my channel. So in this video I'm going to do a reading for this weekend. So looking at Friday through to Sunday, looking at the energies, doing a tarot and oracle reading, and I'm also going to do a little bit of talking about Saturn. So you might have already seen the video that I did on Monday where I talked a bit about Saturn, but I kind of wanted to go a little bit deeper into that. So the reason I'm talking about Saturn is because Saturn on Saturday is going to be going retrograde. Now this happens fairly frequently and it usually stays in retrograde for quite a while when it's a slower moving planet like Saturn. So Saturn changes signs every 2.5 years, and we're going to be having Saturn going into retrograde from Saturday through to November. So that's what, 5 months-ish? So retrogrades in Saturn are often about reviewing all of the rewords, so review, rejuvenate, realign, like anything that's about like going back and looking at what Saturn asks of us. So Saturn changed signs last year into Pisces. And it's going to be asking us to review the systems that because Saturn rules systems and structures and order and these kinds of things. So it's going to be really asking us to do a bit of a reality check, really. It's going to be a kind of review, and it's not going to just happen in like one day. Like I say, this is going to start on Saturday, and for the next 5 months we're going to be seeing this theme coming up. So Saturn has been playing quite a big role recently, and Saturn also rules karma, so there might be some stuff here around our karma, and karma is also pointing to, like, our karma is also life purpose stuff, so kind of helping us direct towards our soul purpose and why we are here. So I thought what might be useful actually in terms of like something tangible and practical to sort of help get into this Saturnian energy and like what Saturn's really asking of us is to kind of understand what like resources that might be useful. So for instance, there's a great book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, one of the most successful self-help books that have ever like been published, honestly. So that's a really, like, what that book really talks about is habits, right? And what his whole thesis is, if you like, is that it's when we want to change our behavior, it's not necessarily because we can't be bothered or we don't want to change. The problem is that we don't have the systems in place to help those behaviors change. So this book is really helping us to establish like new systems in our life in a way that's actually helpful for our psychology. And I just think it's a really good way to kind of, if you want to kind of work with Saturn, that book is really about how to work with Saturn. It doesn't say that, right? It's not using that language, it's not using astrology terms, but to me, understanding how we build systems and habits in our lives is very Saturnian. Another very Saturnian sort of idea or philosophy is Stoicism. So again, if you wanted to understand Saturn more, reading the philosophy of Stoicism, a really great modern take on this is through Ryan Holiday. Ryan Holiday's like the guy that brought Stoicism into the 21st century. Like obviously he's not the person who invented Stoicism, right? It's not that kind of thing. But he brings it into our sort of like culture in a way that I think is just easier and more palatable. Obviously, if you wanted to actually look to the Stoics like Marcus Aurelius or, oh God, I'm blanking on the names now, there's so many Stoics. Marcus Aurelius is the big one. It'll come to me in a minute. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But you can obviously look at actual Stoics that came up with these ideas, but if you just want something that's a little bit easier to sort of digest, I would recommend, Ryan Holiday and James Clear are very big on very Saturnian ideas. So anyway, I just thought that might be useful, something to take away, because I think that we don't necessarily know how to like work with the planets, and actually like reading about people that don't use the word Saturn, but that's what they're actually talking about. Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, so I'm going to get into the reading around the general energies and looking at potential, like what it's asking of us, how to navigate the energy, that kind of stuff. Okay, so for this weekend, please, for those watching, what are the general energies, please? Let me know how you've been finding these energies recently as well. Take that, thank you. We've got one. Oh, hello. Oh, these are nice. Okay. Right, so let me show you what I've got here. First of all, we've got Ace of Cups. So having a look at that, seeing what comes through intuitively for you. As I always say, obviously I can guide on what I'm seeing, but I think it's really important that you take what you see as well. We're all intuitive. This is designed for all of us to be able to read, really. Okay. Then we've also got here Six of Cups, pleasure. 2 cups so far, liking that. 6 of Swords, science. Okay, so what I love about this reading, not that I'm being biased or anything, so far, is that it's very much about focusing on our well-being and our emotional well-being. With there being 2 cups here, and it's particularly with this cups, I always think with this card, like, it's very much about like filling up our own cups. Like, there's literally water going into the cup, right? So there's going to be a focus on our emotional well-being. And also in the context of this cups, it's about our pleasure as well. So it feels to me like we're just asked to kind of enjoy ourselves. This is very much the themes that we were getting in the beginning of the week, actually, about really enjoying ourselves, being in a really high vibration. We've also got here 6 of Swords. So for some of you, it feels like maybe you have been in kind of trickier terrain, and now you're going to be moving into smoother waters. I always think like that's the phrase that comes to mind for me with this card, is about traveling to smoother territory where maybe things have been challenging and now things are getting a bit easier, which I think is very welcomed. What I'm really also getting as well with all these cups, like at the moment, the sun is in Cancer, Venus is in Cancer, Mercury is in Cancer, and the moon is in Pisces. There's lots of very watery energy right now, so it's really, really focusing and highlighting our emotional well-being. Water is the ruler of like our emotions, right? So there's a huge emphasis on this right now. So maybe spending some time thinking about what fills up your own cup, doing things that fill up your own cup, and fulfillment as well. There's like, even though we've not got the fulfillment card here, I am kind of getting like doing things that are fulfilling and being gentler with yourself this weekend, which is really nice. Okay, so let's look at a challenge that we might come across this weekend, please, for those watching. Challenges for this weekend, please. There we go. Ah, interesting. This came up before, actually, earlier in the week, sorry. Queen of Wands. This was also the challenge there. That's so fascinating. I love it when that happens. It's like, what are the chances, you know? Okay, so Queen of Wands to me really speaks of like, Queen of Wands knows what she wants. She goes after what she wants. She's very passionate in her affairs, but she's very courageous as well. There is again, there's a bit of a theme at the moment around courage, around needing to be courageous, needing to be unashamed in what we want. So with this being a challenge, I wonder if there is something about needing to take more risks. Wands also speaks of action, so maybe it's hard to take action for some of you. There's a few additional meanings this could be, so just take what resonates, leave the rest. So maybe, yeah, struggling to take action. I'm struggling to focus on what lights you up, actually, even though we've got this real need here for around pleasure. Focusing on our pleasure. Interesting. Let's see if more comes up for that. Do you know what I'm going to ask, actually? What is Saturn asking of us this weekend? What does Saturn... Yeah. Prince of Cups. Now, this is what it's making me think of with this, is that Saturn is in Pisces. And as we've already talked about, Pisces is a water sign. Pisces is also like very artistic, creative, and with Saturn in Pisces, it's a strange combination. I don't want to say strange, that's a bit of a weird way of putting it, but what I mean, it's a tricky combination because Pisces is not remotely interested in boundaries and limitations, right? It's like two fish swimming in opposite directions, completely boundaryless. The water is just everywhere, right? And Saturn is all about boundaries and limitations. So this is kind of like somewhat an uncomfortable placement, but I think what this particular transit, Saturn being in Pisces, is really asking of us is to create the formless into form. So Pisces is the formless, Pisces is the ethers, Pisces is like our dreams, because Neptune is also the ruler of Pisces, so which is the planet of like dreams, visions, also sometimes delusions and illusions. And Saturn is about bringing things into form. So it's like these two together could actually be a really beautiful combination, but it's sort of tricky for Pisces to do that because it doesn't see things in such a concrete way. It sees things in a much bigger picture way. It's also ruled by Jupiter, which is the planet of bigger picture, sort of like not so much the detail and the earthy, right? It's more expansive and larger and philosophical. So I feel like with this being in what is Saturn asking of us, it is about creating structures around our emotional world, right? Prince of Cups is an emotional card, like he's an emotional character, and it's all about the realms of the water. Look how much blue there is on this card. It's all the water, diving deep into the water. Like he's literally directing the bird into the water, and it's about going deep into emotions again with all these cups here. And yeah, creating, what I'm hearing actually is like creating structures around how we take care of ourselves. So this could be in the realms of like our health, right? Like going to the gym or eating better food, like those kinds of things. It could totally be that stuff, but it could also be like, it could be an inquiry around what do I need in order to have emotional well-being? Like what are the commitments I need to make to show up for myself so that I feel the most well-rounded and feel not just healthy in a sort of athletic way, although it could be, but it's more like, how do I feel well? What would that look like? So it might be like, I need to go for more walks, because for me, for example, like that really helps me feel connected to nature, going out in nature and that kind of thing. And that really helps me put things into perspective so I don't get so caught up in my kind of monkey mind. So that might be like a commitment, because Saturn is like, is about commitments. Is about making a sort of structure around making sure you go for those walks. So again, like what we're alluding to kind of James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. It's like, how do we actually build the structures in our lives so that we do the things that we know are good for us, right? Because that's the hard part. The hard part is to like, we know going for the walk is good, or we know meditation's helpful, or we know breath work is good, or whatever modality. The modality is up to you and what makes sense for you. But the hard part is, how do we implement this in a way that we can actually get some consistency with this practice so that we can actually see the fruits of that, commitment, if that makes sense. Because these things don't just happen like one time. You don't just go to the gym once and then you're like, I'm fit and healthy now. It's like, it's an ongoing kind of thing. And that's what Saturn really asks of us, which is why I think we struggle with it, because it's like, don't want to have to commit and like whatever, but actually it is so helpful and also the most loving thing we could do for ourselves. And instead of seeing things as discipline and like, I don't want to do that because I have to show up, and it's like, how could we see it as an act of devotion? How could we see it as something that's like the most loving of ourselves rather than punishment? That's what it is. It's like, this is the highest form of love in some ways. And that's why I think I'm always like trying to defend Saturn because it's actually very loving, even if sometimes it's a bit tough. Okay, guidance to navigate this weekend, please. I love this reading so far. Well-being, all about well-being, isn't it? Guidance to navigate this weekend for those watching, please. Oh, yeah, I love that. Okay. More cups. Two of Cups, love. Oh, do you know what's really interesting about this card as well? It's Venus in Cancer. Venus is currently in Cancer. I know this because I know these cards like super well. But so we've got Venus here in Cancer. So yeah, so there might be something here about looking at where Venus in Cancer sits in your chart. Is like, that's not normally what I would take from this because Venus isn't always in Cancer, but because Venus is actually currently in Cancer and it's a guidance question, I wonder if it's about looking at which house Cancer sits in for you, and that being somewhere to focus on this weekend, if that makes sense. So for example, I know for me, Venus sits, actually my Venus does sit in the 10th house, but Cancer also sits in the 10th house for me, which is the house of public life, of career, of big life's purpose. So I know this actually does resonate a lot for me because I've had a huge focus on that area in my life right now, of my public facing career, of my life's purpose and my life's work. So something about focusing on that this weekend, and that feels very resonant for me. So it could be have a look at which house it sits in, look at what the meaning of that house is. An additional meaning of this card, like what it sort of conventionally means, so to speak, is focusing on love, right? Focusing on balance, focusing on harmony. This card is very much about like balance. If you look at the water flowing through these cups, it's evenly flowing. It sometimes can refer to a balancing of masculine and feminine within us, and like uniting and coming together. It can also sometimes speak of your relationships, right? Two people coming together in harmony. I think in traditional tarot it's like a man and a woman, but again that could represent your inner masculine, inner feminine. Yeah, all right. So I also did, there is another card that fell out with this. So we've got 8 of Cups here. Now this card often speaks of it's a couple of things, to be honest. The first thing that's coming to mind with this is a need to, do you know what's so interesting? This is Saturn in Pisces card. How funny is that? Saturn, Pisces. So again, just like with the Venus in Cancer. Oh, that's so cool. I love that these actual transits are happening. Right. So there's 3 things I'm getting from this actually. Saturn in Pisces. So again, there's some emphasis this weekend. The guidance is like focusing on what Saturn in Pisces is asking of us, right? Getting those structures in place in the realms of where Pisces sits for your chart, on your chart as well. That could be a way to use this energy. Also, so this card often speaks of a need to walk away from something. So for some of you, it could be leaving something behind that's no longer serving you. It could be something very practical, like a job or a relationship, something like that. Again, I don't think that's for everybody. I think that's for some people, but there is some maybe a need to walk away. And then there's also more just like leaving something behind that isn't really working for you in a more sort of emotional sense. Like maybe it's more old beliefs, old thought patterns, letting something go. But yeah, it does feel like there's for some of you, there's a need to let something go this weekend. And it might be sad. Like sometimes this does bring a bit of a sadness. It's another Cups card, again, more Cups, all about the emotions. So much emotions. Oh my gosh, maybe have a cry. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that could be the case for some of us, like just having a purge. Could be that, could be about purging, letting go, releasing, clearing emotions. And then the other additional meaning, so again, like if you look at the card, there's very little water draining from these cups, right? They're not abundant and flush and full. It can speak in indolence, kind of means like being a bit lazy. So there might be a thing of like, watch out for like being a little bit yeah, I don't like to use the word lazy because I find it quite like unhelpful sometimes, but then I probably would say that. But anyway, so maybe watching out for some kind of like indolence, because again, there is this in the challenges section of like a need to take action. We're struggling to take action, maybe just feeling a little bit kind of unmotivated, which makes sense looking at all of this. I think it's so much about our emotional well-being. We might not feel that action oriented. I'm not too concerned about it. But yeah, just something to watch out for. Okay, so I'm going to pull a few more cards from the Moonology Oracle cards by Yasmin Boland. As always, if you like these decks, the links for those are in the description. So just a little bit more guidance for those people watching. Again, I saw this on, I swear I saw this on Monday. Expect powerful change. Oh, right, let me just get some more cards out first. Oh, that flew out. Yes, love this. One more card, please. There it is, thank you. Oh, interesting. Okay, right. So, as you've already seen, expect powerful change. I'm sure we had this on Monday. I hope I've got that right. Anyway, it does feel like things are really, really shifting. It's really interesting. And we've got prosperity lies ahead. And I kind of feel like they're speaking to each other. So for some of you, you might be really seeing, again, I'm seeing like big changes in like career stuff at some point for some people, because there's this need to focus so much, like astrologically there's so much focus on like life's purpose. Like, and Saturn is about our life's purpose as well. It's about our karma, which is about life's purpose. We've also got stuff happening with the North Node. North Node is about like lots of aspects to the North Node, so directing us towards our our life's purpose. Prosperity lies ahead. Some of you have been wanting some more money coming in. This could be your sign. And then this is very interesting. We've got the end of a tough cycle approaches, and then at the bottom, which is a full moon in Capricorn, which you just had, you're very close to achieving your goal. This is interesting. So it feels like for some of you, there's a little bit more to go. You're not quite where you need to be yet. There's a few messages going on here. Some of you, it's just about relaxing, filling up your emotional cup, like your emotional well-being, filling up your own cups, which I think is for everybody as well. But it's not a time to be lazy either. We still have to do stuff. It's like we're really close to a quite an important point in our lives. It's not about sitting back and just being like, I can totally just like do nothing now. You're very close, you're achieving your goal, and the end of a tough cycle approaches. So it's like you're not at the end, it's approaching. So for some of you, it's like really close, but you're not quite there. So there's a real focus at this. Yeah, and again with this, just remember that change, like the change that you've been like building towards, that you've been working towards, that you've been trying to manifest is coming, and the money seems is coming this way as well. Taurus is all about money, right? It's about, it rules the second house in astrology, which is a house of money and income, and also self-worth. So there could be some things about self-worth, feeling good enough, feeling worth, like, yeah, let me feel into that. There's something about feeling like you're worthy of what you are trying to achieve. Does that make sense? Yeah, hopefully that's, yeah. Ooh, this is fascinating. I love this so much. So it feels like, yeah, just a little bit more to go. Focus on your well-being, focus on your emotions, and like being the best, highest vibration you can be, but keep going. Keep going is the real thing here. Like for some of you, you might be a bit tired, and you might be like, I just want to stop. I don't want to do this. But you're so close. And if that resonates for you, you'll know. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you'll be like, oh, I know. Oh, I know this is true. You're so close. Just keep going. It's exciting. Special. especially with this. I love this card. I love it. Ugh, yeah. Turning a corner. Like, all of this work you've been putting in is like coming into fruition now, but you just got a little bit more to go. Well done. You need a huge congratulations. Like, well done. Bottom of the deck, strength. No, keep going. This is a keep going card as well. That's so fascinating. I knew I needed to look at that. So yeah, keep going. You're like, I know you're tired. You're at a 9, right? Like, it's nearly the end. Again, it's like this close, so close. Keep going. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know how that resonated for you. I'm really intrigued. I love this reading so much. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Let me know if you liked it. If you're not sure what to say, you can always leave an emoji, but just, yeah, love chatting with you in the comments. So, and if you have enjoyed this content and you're not already subscribed, subscribing is the best way to get more. So thank you so much for watching. Have a fabulous weekend, and I will see you all on the next one. Mwah! Bye.